Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the Furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 19, episode 9, and today we play the second leg of the Champions League semi-final against United, our closest competitors in the Premier League, and the side that could potentially put us out of Europe. They've been our bogey side for the last few years, and this ties on a knife edge as well, so if we're going to make it to the final and retain the Champions League, we're certainly going to need to do something special today. We want to finish this series in style and cement our legacy at Torquay by winning every available trophy with the exception of the Community Shield, which we lost. So we want to try and do that before we end this series, just so we can finish on a dominant high. It's been a struggle throughout and I thank you all for sticking with me, particularly through the tougher times in League 1 and League 2. And obviously we were stuck in mid-table in the Championship for a while, but eventually we've made it to the top here with Torquay. And of course, for those of you that aren't up to date, we are going to be doing it all again as soon as FM20 is released. We've announced the club will be managing in our One Club story next year, and there's a couple of very unique reasons that they're perfect for Football Manager, so do make sure you go back and catch up with that one, which will start in a couple of weeks' time once the FM20 beta's released. We also announced the club will be managing for our one season beta save, so make sure you catch up with that as well. And we've also had our FM20 plans video, where we announced all the content we'll have on the channel in the next year. That contained a vote for you to pick our second long-term story, which should be released after the January transfer update, so go and have your say and shape the content on the channel. You certainly deserve a say as a thanks for all your support. But today we're focusing on the Champions League, with 2 or 3 more episodes to go with Torquay. We'll definitely have the FA Cup final tomorrow, but I'm hoping we'll have a Champions League final to finish on Sunday, though of course that's going to depend on today's episode. Hopefully all the big players will turn up. Silla's not playing well, and you can see that the fans are concerned and the poor confidence here, but we've still got Omar and Andrade fit, and Yaladian's on fire on the right wing too. We've got the best attacking and defensive record in the Premier League, a trophy we wrapped up in the last episode yesterday, and if you have missed any of the season so far, make sure you catch up with all of our antics, including a couple of new competitions. But if we go to the schedule very quickly, just so you can see the 3 matches we played off camera, first was a defeat in the Premier League to United, a late goal as our backup side fell behind, Andrew Brown and Pete Harland, 2 of the youngsters getting a game in that one, and then Probert playing off the bench as well, so we are trying to blood some youth players too. Then away in the first leg of this Champions League semi-final, a 2-2 draw which we managed to nick late on. United went ahead on 2 different occasions, but Lee camped off the bench with an equaliser in the last 10. Then a comfortable 2-0 win at home to Wolves at the weekend. The backup side played again in this one, and the 3 youngsters all featured off the bench as Marco Gracia finally got his first league goal of the season. 3 goals for a striker worth nearly 70 million quid. Certainly not something he should be proud of, but maybe he's coming into form at just the right time. Remember, he scored in the Champions League semi and final last year and was the hero in so many games. So let's see if he can do that off the bench today as we go and get into this massive Champions League match. It's 2-2, it couldn't be much closer, but of course we've got those away goals, so a draw should be beneficial for us. United in decent form and we're inconsistent, and you can see the head-to-head record, they're miles ahead, but of course we were fighting at the bottom end of the table, particularly for the first 2 or 3 years in the Premier League. We've got Lemaitre unregistered and Richard Quirk out with pulled ankle ligaments, so a couple of players missing for this one, so I'll go and sort out the starting 11 and we'll be back in a moment to talk through it. Okay, line-up decided for the match against Niko Kovac's United side. Let's go and have a look at our 11 in detail. Probably only one big decision in the starting 11. Lee Kant coming in on the left wing. His late goal to equalise was crucial in the first leg, and with Boubacar Silla in pretty poor form, it seems strange not to play Lee Kant. He's got 10 goals for the season as well, as 4 or 5 players have now reached double figures. I guess Maddie catering for Kante is probably a slight surprise. We have been rotating them a little bit, but other than that, it's the 11 you'd expect, and probably the substitutes bench you'd come to expect too. So we've got Stojanovic in goal as the sweeper keeper, Cura and Wagner the fullbacks, and Singy and McDonnell in at centre half as always. That back 4 in terms of rollability, absolutely brilliant for star rating, possibly the best side I've ever built at the top level, particularly in those defensive areas. We've got Bacanes, Cater and Omar the midfield 3, obviously Bacanes being the deep line playmaker, and in Yaladian the super right winger with Lee Kant on the left, and Alex Andrade the 26 goal striker up front, hoping to add at least one more today. The likes of Silla Souza and Grassi are on the bench, Kante and Raphael midfield options, and then Bruno Moraes makes his way into the 18. He's covering for Richard Quirk, who's injured. Torquay Hull can make it a back five if we do need that late on, but hopefully it'll be comfortable and we won't have to worry about holding on. Of course we'd like to get to the position where we at least can get through, but having lost so many games at home to United, I'm not entirely confident going into this one. So let's go and get into the first half and kick off and see if we can make it to successive Champions League finals. The one bit of good news off camera as well, loads of the big players have signed new contracts and we haven't had to add much to the wage bill either, as because we've been so successful on the pitch. It's a 4-1-4-1 for United, Janssen the danger man, of course the key player up front, and Shane Mason-Smith in goal the superstar, the one that we sold because of his poor attitude. About 2 or 3 times he missed games out nightclubbing, but he did save a penalty against us in the last game. So let's go and talk to the boys, challenge them to pick up where they left off, and hopefully the lads will respond in the first half, particularly as most of them have got new long-term deals. They're a good team and we're relishing the challenge. I'm of course not going to admit that I'm absolutely terrified, but as United kick off in the first half, there's optimism around the Torquay Stadium. I'm sure the atmosphere will be absolutely fantastic, though it may change if this cross gets into the box, but he tries to shoot from a really acute angle and is comfortably wide of the post. It's Cura at the other end now with a long throw, and Singy knocks it down for Keita. His shot was goal bound, but it deflected off the defence and he's out for a corner kick. Omar will swing it in from the right hand side to the back post to Nsingi. Brilliant save, Shane Mason-Smith. Keita with a second can't get it back in, and it falls to Yaladian, who picks out Omar. Back to Bacanes. Now Yaladian and Keita is pinball in there. No one really gets a great effort away though, and as it comes back to Wagner on the left hand side, the highlight ends at 0-0 with nearly 10 minutes on the clock. We're back again with Ramirez in midfield for United, going to the right hand side, and the winger's trying to take us on again to deliver. Cura gets there just before Janssen and forces him to direct his header wide. 20 minutes gone, it's still 0-0, enough of a result for us to get through on the night, but I'm not entirely confident we can hang on to it. We'd bank on United to score at some point, so I really would like to take the lead. It's Omar in the middle here trying to find out the striker, picks out Andrade eventually, a wild effort from 25 yards in truth, and he's comfortably wide of the post, but United still haven't had a shot on target. It's a throw on the right hand side for the away team though. Janssen going 1-2 with Bastin. Cooper picks out Frias, they're the 2 goal scorers in the first leg, and Cooper picks it up again, finding it wide to the fullback. Back to Panda the centre half. They certainly have kept possession better of the 2 sides, but it hasn't often led to many opportunities. Though Janssen's in here, and I almost ate my words as he put one narrowly wide of the post. Got through 1-on-1 with a quick spin on McDonnell, but in the end we survived with 10 minutes to half time. Yaladian cuts it back from a long throw to Keita. It falls for him luckily again, and he forces a very good save out of Mason-Smith, who looks like he's going to be the hero for the second in a row. It's a corner to the back post to McDonnell, loses out and it falls for Keita. Yaladian gets it wide to Omar again, and his cross deflects back to him. Out to Keita on the edge, it's just not falling for us in the box there, and United eventually get it away, and now they're attacking down the right hand side. It's a throw on the byline back to Felipe, brilliant effort on the volley, it's just over the bar and Stojanovic had it covered, and maybe it is going to be goalless at half time. We're back with the ball on the right hand side for Andrade, drifted wide to hold it up the striker. Cura plays a 1-2 with Yaladian though, runs through unopposed, but again a brilliant save by Mason-Smith, and it's behind for another corner, an outswinger this time from Omar. In towards the back post to McDonnell, unmarked but the flag's up, and Singy was trying to get on the end of the second ball, as was Bacanes in there, but both of them were in offside positions, and it means it is going to be 0-0 at the break. A dominant display, but we haven't taken advantage, and that could come back to harm us in the second half. Let's go and talk to the boys and tell them to prove a point. They really have put in a decent display actually, and most of them are motivated going into the second period, so hopefully we can get that goal to put the tie to bed. It's Wagner on the left hand side charging forward, cuts inside as he so often does, picks out Omar and now Lee Kant. Been a quiet game for the wide man on the left hand side. Keita shoots from the edge of the box, he was pretty unopposed again, but he just had some pressure at the last second, and as a result it goes on to the roof of the net. Bastin with a throw on the right for United. Cooper picks Felipe out 30 yards from goal. Shots blocked to Ramirez and it's cleared again. Keita's now got a chance to counter. Out to Andrade on the right hand side. Such a quick moving game. There's 2 in the box but he can't beat the defender and he's out for a Torquay United throw. 5 minutes gone in the second half and we're back with a corner for Omar. McDonnell wins the header, it's just wide of the post, and unfortunately it is still 0-0 here at Torquay. 25 minutes to go. We've had our first warning to close the forward down. Jansen's been putting a bit of pressure on us. Felipe shoots from the head, which is blocked. Two of the defenders' ratings moved into a 7 now. We've got a warning to close Felipe down too. He's had a pretty good game for their side. With 15 to go though, it's still 0-0, and we've got to think about making substitutions, but I don't know what to do, whether we change our shape. I really just want a goal to settle the nerves. But let's go and talk to the lads and make a couple of changes. We'll do that and then make a tactical shout and hope it makes an impact for the last few moments. So the subs we're going to make are Mady Keita. He's going to be replaced by Malik Kante. I think he can play as a deep line playmaker, and that'll actually suit us down to the ground. He'll be man marking Felipe by coincidence. We're going to drop Omar to a support duty as well. Remember, we don't need to score in this game. We just need to stop Man United doing it too. Gracia may well come on up front, though Andrade is holding the ball up okay. So I'm going to replace Lee Camp with Boubacar Silla, and we're just going to leave it for 5 more minutes. If need be, we'll bring Torquay United on at the back, and we'll go to a back 3 for the last few moments. 5 more minutes remaining here, and he's certainly on a knife edge going into stoppage time. It's Bastin with a throw at right back, gives it away to Boubacar Silla, the sub. He finds Wagner, who tries to deliver, but his cross is blocked and now United can counter. Boubacar Silla basically gave up there, but Wagner did brilliantly to win the challenge, though it has gone behind for a corner kick, and we're going to encourage the lads to concentrate. I'm not sure if it'll work as we're moving close to stoppage time. Just one more moment and I'll make that defensive sub. And Singi and Kante combine to clear with headers. Out to Omar and now Yaladian. He's got a chance to put it to bed. In from the right hand side, it's cleared. And Singi wins the challenge. It's brilliant work. And with 30 seconds plus stoppage time to go, we're going to go as defensive as we can. So Alex Andrade will come off and he's going to be replaced by Torquay Hull. He's just going to slot in at the back of defence, right in the middle there actually. In fact, we might put Hull on one side and McDonald in the middle, as Holland and Singi are both electric quick. McDonald's natural at covering, so he'll drop a bit deeper. The fullbacks will also go to support duties. We are just making sure we hang on for the draw. We cannot afford to concede here, and we need to make sure we look after our defence. Yaladian and Silla will stay out wide. No striker for the last minute. I can't remember if I've ever done that in this save, so even in season 19 we're doing new things. We're going to be more disciplined, time waste all the time. We're going to hold our shape, slow the pace down. We haven't had to do this for a little while actually either, so we're taking ourselves back a year or two, going as defensive as we possibly can. No pressure on their defence, let them have the ball at the back, and we'll just see if we can hang on for the last few moments. It certainly would be a very special result. So we're going to get back into it with all those changes made, and hope we haven't invited a bit too much pressure. 30 seconds plus stoppage time at the Torquay United Stadium, and Manchester United still haven't had a shot on target. It's Ramirez at left back though to Felipe. He finds Cooper in the centre circle. Could switch to Damgard on the right. This is so tense, I just cannot take it. Silla gets there as it's blocked away, and now we've got a throw with Cura. Finds Wagner on the edge of the box who shoots. Brilliant save by Shea Mason-Smith. It would have rested the nerve slightly, but there's only 15 seconds now. Please just play it short. Why is there no short corners in this game? We're going to drop to balance before this is taken as well, and I hope that the whistle goes any second. Hull wins the header and it's cleared. Yaladian shoots, it's blocked for a corner. Surely that's going to be it. With 30 seconds over and the whistle hasn't gone. What is the referee doing here? Please take it and blow the whistle. Omar to the back post and Singi wins it, and he's straight into the arms of Shea Mason-Smith. We're now 45 seconds over. The final whistle does go. It's 0-0 and we're through on away goals. A really solid performance and we got the result we needed. Shea Mason-Smith made 10 saves in that match and Manchester United didn't manage a shot on target. A brilliant performance and victory, and we're through to the Champions League final. We've got a chance to retain it as well as the Premier League and FA Cup, and if we could retain all 3 of the major trophies as well as winning the Carabao Cup, European Super Cup and the Club World Championship as well, 6 of the 7 available trophies, that's probably just about as well as we could do. It will mean we've won everything over our time at Torquay, and we just found dominance in the last 18 months of the series, and I'm so proud of the boys. With just one more hurdle to go, an FA Cup final against Southampton, and then we'll find out who we're playing in the Champions League too. The lads are delighted, so let's see what the media have said about it and find out who we're going to be playing in the final. There's the confirmation then of that away goals victory, brilliant defensive display, and although we dominated moving forward as well, unfortunately we weren't able to break the resistance of our former goalkeeper Shane Mason-Smith. Seems to have sorted his attitude out now, and what a wonderful keeper he has become. We've booked our place in the final, we'll have a look at who we're playing in a moment, and we'll of course deal with the press conference off camera as we put another £11 million in the coffers. Let's very quickly show you the contracts that have been signed. Nearly all of the first team now till 2041. Almost all of those were out of contract at the end of next year. The only one who signed a shorter extension was Maddie Cater, that's because he's now 31 years of age, and Yeladian wants 300 grand a week, so we're not able to afford to upgrade him at the moment. But aside from that, Torquay will be keeping everyone they want to, only really Lemeche and Bruno Moraes going out, and possibly the fourth centre-half Mon Everson too. But the likes of Haaland and Probert can step in for those guys, so it's not too much of a worry for the club, and he'll help the homegrown quota too. So let's skip forward a day and confirm who we're playing in the final, and that'll be the episode that finishes the series on Sunday. There's the confirmation then, and it's a repeat of the European Super Cup final. The only difference in this game, of course, being that hopefully we won't have 10 players each away on international duty. We also played Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final too, so we've got plenty of experience of playing them in big games. It seems like they've made a recovery after a couple of quiet years. They obviously must have won the Europa League last season, and now they're in the big one, the Champions League final. So hopefully they won't spoil our party at the end, but of course that could well happen. We're going over to Turkey by the looks of things. I'm not quite sure whereabouts that ground is, or which teams use it rather. Ezenle Erikspor play in this ground apparently. Not a club I've heard of in truth. It doesn't look like they're even a first division team. That is a bit strange. I wonder why they've got a 76,000 seater. But that's not a problem for us to worry about now. We're just going to enjoy our day out for the Champions League final. Niko Kovac stormed out of his press conference, and that shows that the performance obviously got to him. Team leaders like McDonald and Omar on board, their reaction's fantastic to our display and comments, and it seems like the dressing room atmosphere is perfect, and we're really looking good moving towards the big finals. So 2 more episodes to come in this series. Of course the last Premier League game will be played off camera. It's essentially a dead rubber against 5th place Bournemouth, who have had a fantastic season to be up there. I wonder if they can still get in the top 4 actually. There's the football fan in me looking. Can we get them into the top 4? Or we can get them there at the expense of Liverpool. So you might be seeing a very young side in that game, and we might well have lost it 3 or 4 when we come back. I know some will complain about the integrity of the competition, but if you're good enough to wrap up the league in 35 games, my opinion is you can do what you want after that. We've got Southampton in the FA Cup final 6 days after to worry about, so that of course is our priority to make sure everyone's fit, and there's only 3.5 days between the United game and that Bournemouth one, so most of the lads won't be recovered anyway. Then we play Liverpool in the Champions League final. That'll be on Sunday in the final standard episode of the series, and then we will do a 20 years in the future video as well. That one will come out sometime in the week afterwards. Of course now the FM20 beta isn't going to be out for a couple of weeks, so we've got plenty of time to make those sort of videos, and I hope they'll be very much enjoyable, and of course let me know down in the comments in the next few days if there's anything in particular you'd like me to look at. But if you did enjoy this episode and that wonderful defensive display against United, please do put a thumbs up on the video. I'm so proud that we managed to restrict them to no shots on target at all, particularly when all they knew they had to do was score. I'm so proud of our resilience, and we really have become a fantastic side. Shane Mason-Smith was brilliant at the other end, a keeper that could have been our first choice by now, but United seem to have sorted out his attitude, so we've got to go and give them praise for that. Subscribe to the channel for the end of this last season from our FM19 story, 2 more big finals to come this week, and then daily FM20 content as soon as the beta's released, with 5 episodes a week from our One Club story and 2 episodes a week from our beta save. We've announced the clubs will be managing in both of those already, so do make sure you're up to date with our FM20 plans videos. And the initial episode from that series had a vote for our second long-term story of the season, so make sure you go and have your say on the content you'll see. There's also 2 episodes a week from my Cricket 19 career. That's on Tuesday and Saturday at midday. We're featuring in a tournament overseas for the first time in our history, so come and check out how we're getting on and help us in our quest to reach international honours. And then also please join me on Friday for the final episode of the Snooker 19 career. We're trying to finish that one with glory in the final episode of the series, so come and join us to see how we get on. Will it end in glory or dramatic failure? But a massive thanks for watching this one, and your continued support support of the channel as always. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time for another important episode as we play Southampton in the FA Cup final.